This video will cover scheduled maintenance triggers in detail. A scheduled maintenance generates a work order when an individual or combination of triggers are activated. There are two ways a scheduled maintenance can generate a work order, either when all of the triggers fire or when any of the triggers fire. I'm going to add a combination of the various triggers to my SM for my CNC machine. My scheduled maintenance will trigger if any of the triggers activate. I'll select any of the triggers fire and select New. There are three types of triggers: a time schedule, meter reading, or event. My CNC machine needs preventive maintenance every 400 production hours, or every 17 days. To create a time-based trigger, I'll select Generate Work Order by Time Schedule. I have the option to choose an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly schedule. I'll choose a fixed daily schedule every 17 days because I want my trigger to occur every 17th day regardless of when the work order generated by this SM was last closed. I would choose a floating schedule if I wanted the 17-day triggering period to begin from when the work order was last closed. In summary, a fixed trigger does not move regardless of when a work order was last closed. Alternatively, a floating trigger adjusts to when the work order was last closed off. Now, moving on, we can see that below I have the option to select when the scheduled maintenance will be generated for the first time and when the SM will stop generating work orders. Because this is the first time I'm creating this trigger and I need maintenance done starting today and continuing on in the future, I select the Create Work Order on Start Date box. This will generate a work order immediately and then scan for the triggers in the future. If you need to postpone the start of your scheduled maintenance, you can input a later date. By selecting no end date, my scheduled maintenance will continue to generate work orders indefinitely. If I add an end date, the scheduled maintenance will stop creating work orders beyond that date. Okay. Now I'll add a meter reading trigger to my scheduled maintenance. This CNC machine needs preventive maintenance every 400 production hours. I select Generate Work Order by Meter Reading Trigger. Choose the Every type. In the box, enter 400 and select Production Hours from the dropdown. The Start At tab allows me to add a current meter reading for my CNC machine. If it was running for 200 production hours, I'd add 200 so that my next trigger would create a work order at 600 production hours. Again, there is a tab to stop the scheduled maintenance from creating a work order by selecting End By and entering a meter reading. The fixed and floating schedule options are still there, but an additional setting for floating schedules is present as well. If this box is selected, then the next trigger value will be based on the meter reading at the time when the previous work order was closed, and not when the work order was created. The other meter reading trigger generates a work order when the meter reading is less than or greater than a unit value. I could use this trigger for preventive maintenance on my CNC machine. When the spindle temperature is greater than 140 Fahrenheit, a work order will be generated. I select when Fahrenheit's reading is greater than 140. We'll stick with the original every 400 production hour trigger for now. The final type of trigger is an event. Events can be logged to assets the same way meter readings are logged. When an event is logged for an asset, the scheduled maintenance triggers a work order. I'll pick an event relevant to my CNC machine here. Events trigger a scheduled maintenance every time they're logged to the asset. There are no options to customize this behavior. Thanks for watching this video.